Welcome back to Artists Exposed with Tym Moss. I'm kind of leaning in from the side here. My guest is RUTANYA ALDA, and her book is The Mommie Dearest Diary. And be sure to get that, which you can get on Amazon.
Amazon.com, and now it just went on BarnesandNoble.com, which kind of surprised me, and I'm happy.
Yay! That's good stuff. And we are joined by her son, Jeremy. Jeremy Alda.
Jeremy Bright.
Jeremy Bright, okay.
He's another wonderful, he's third-generation actor.
Okay, very cool. So, firstly, what was it like growing up in the home of a successful actress?
Well, I don't really have anything else to compare it to.
Well, true.
But I had a lot of fun. I was homeschooled, so because we were moving around so much growing up, Los Angeles, New York, everywhere in between, abroad. So I was homeschooled out of necessity, really.
Wow.
And a lot of that took place on studio lots or film sets, so it was always part of my education.
Yeah.
Seeing cinema, being elected to the Academy, we were seeing like films on a daily basis, great classics for, and so I don't think it's a surprise that I went through college later on, then I came back into film, into acting, because that was always a huge part of the foundation of my life.
Yeah, and that would just be natural.
Yeah.
You know, that was a natural part of your life, which is wonderful. That is incredible. Now, RUTANYA was telling me earlier that after the head of lettuce, I guess what it would be called, screening of Mommie Dearest, that she recalled or remembered that she had the diary and decided to start putting that in motion. And so when did you step in and encourage her or recommend that she continue with that?
That was all her doing, really. I only stepped in when she asked me to take a look at it in what was the final transcribed form. So I had had some years of experience with editing professionally, and I sat down, we worked through it, we worked through how to explain certain film terms for a lay audience. We talked about setting in present tense because, you know, everything, when you're publishing something, you don't want to change the author's words.
Right.
But you do need to make it some small edits for grammar, style, clarity, readability. So we figured out how to do that while preserving the full text unabridged, without editing anything out. I think it was great that she had so much personal material, because that's what makes it unique. That's what gives her a voice, and that's what makes her a real character in the book.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't want it to just be, here's a Faye Dunaway story, here's a whatever, because that's more a gossip column. This is
it's kind of a recording of an actual account.
Yeah.
What Jeremy did contribute greatly to, though, he bookended he made that book flow, because now I have a before and I have an afterward. So it connects, but before Carol Ann, the diary, which is the main part, and then the afterward. So
well, it's just like this interview in the sense that if we had just gone into the topic without explaining something about her as a person, the reader or the listener or the viewer isn't situated within the life, within the story in a continuum. So we had to figure out how to do that while still making it about the diary. And there are a good 36 pages or so dedicated to the highlights, interesting, fun stuff. But that will help you live the experience with her. That's what I wanted people to feel as an editor. I wanted them to hear her voice and be in her mind and just kind of get the experience of not only being an actress on a major professional film set in the midst of all this chaos and turmoil, but what it's like to be RUTANYA as a character living this through her own eyes, because it's not particularly objective. It happened to be journaled on all those days, but it's still one person's experience. And we didn't want to try to say that it's something that it's not. That's the beauty of a diary in my eyes, and that's what we wanted to do.
Absolutely. Now, on a personal note, I would like to know, what was it like working on this book with your son, and what was it like working on this book with your mother?
Well, I was a little nervous at first because in the foreword, I had to tell a lot of truth about myself, and some of it I don't think he knew, and I felt like I couldn't do any less than that because I had a journal sort of, and I thought, well, if he had been younger, I wouldn't have done it, but I thought he's a wonderful, wonderful person who's finished school, and he's an actor, and that, you know, but it was a little nervous.
Well, I have a good relationship with my mom, and I'm grateful for that. And coming into this kind of material, yeah, I didn't know some of the stories, but nothing was particularly off-putting or revelationary or made me see her in a totally different light. Because I know my mom as an adult and as a person now.
Yes, right.
Not just as a mom.
Right.
And I think that that's something that I hope people get to experience with their parents. Because otherwise it is just monolithic and it's like a myth. It's like, sorry if there are any little ones listening, it's like Santa Claus. So if you just believe in Santa Claus, you don't get to know the real person who's actually giving you presents and making everything fun.
Yes, it humanizes.
It does. And I think that that's really important because we just want to have an image of someone. I think it's better to really have that someone while we do.
Yes.
So nothing about it was particularly painful for me. Maybe just the long hours. But.
Hours and hours and hours. I'd say a good 100 hours of this, you know, went from Jeremy's point of view went in. So I really am so appreciative.
Well, I personally, I love the collaboration of the mother-son on so many different levels. Because again, it's a personal level. It comes from love and respect, and a professional level as well. So.
I agree.
Thank you
That's
very
well
much, Tim. That's beautifully put. Thank
Wonderful. You. Well, I thank you so very much. Jeremy, I need your last name again.
Bright. B-R-I-G-H-T. That's the thing with fathers. They often have different last names.
Well, Jeremy Bright and my wonderful guest, the beautiful actress and author now, RUTANYA ALDA, and again, her book is the Mommie Dearest Diary. So be sure to get your copy today. Thank you so very much. It was so nice to see you both.
Thank you, too.
So much.